back to another podcast here from Sketch to Success with your host Eduardo Ortega, and I'm right here with Junior. And today we're gonna be talking about the truck dispatching service business, and we're gonna be talking about his journey, a little bit about his life, and then also little tips that he could give us if you want to get into the business, or it could help you with your business. It don't have to be exactly the dispatching, but it could also help you just little ideas as every business owner goes through. So, yeah, Junior. So, welcome to this first interview podcast that right here with from Sketch to Success. If you could just introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Great. My name is Junior Ramirez. I work here at Sun Valley Dispatch here in Terrell, Texas. We're locally in Terrell, Texas. We're not out of the nation. So if you have any questions in logistics, so we specialize too in hot shots, box trucks too. So let me know, man. I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay. How'd you get started in this business, or what you what got you to start this type of industry?
Eduardo, gotta understand I was an entrepreneur. I was in this entrepreneur business since I was 17 years old. So I got into a lot of businesses, but I got attracted to logistics. My sister brought me into it. She was more like, you got to try this. I mean, you'll be pretty good at it. And I went at it, man. I went at it, and it was something different for me. I didn't expect to make a lot of money out of it because I figured, maybe it's not going to be the way I wanted it to be. But yeah, it was introduced by my sister and my brother-in-law.
Okay, when you say entrepreneur, you did other stuff other than this?
Yes, I did. I had a restaurant. I had a barbecue restaurant too.
Oh, okay, nice.
Up in California. I did a little bit of farm labor contracting up there, sales, a lot of New Holland. I worked for New Holland.
Oh, okay. That's nice. I mean, you basically do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, but I've been an entrepreneur, especially being as an investor for houses. I did a lot of properties, since 1995, all the way until this 2007, 2008 when the boom went down.
Oh, okay.
It was a boom and there was a boom,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I started this business in 2015.
2015? Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay. So a question that we like to ask, well, I'm going to start asking, the interviews. What is the sketch? Meaning, what is the first idea that led you to where you are today? Like, what got you to, this business, or what made you, start it, stuff like that?
What made me start it is just the money. The money that I see behind it, I just didn't see, I seen the money, but I didn't see the structure. So I had to come up with the structure for myself, and I came to Texas because I'm born and bred in Texas. So, I seen all these hot shot trucks, and I told my sister, I think I'm going to go into the hot shot business. She has semi trucks.
Oh, okay.
She has semi trucks, and she still has them. And so I just like the hot shotting, and I bought my first. I went in deep. My first two trucks were brand spanking new.
Okay.
I didn't even know about non-CDL or CDL. I just went in. Went to the dealership, bought two trucks, brand spanking new ones, and I bought 40-foot, CDL trailers.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a CDL trailer, so I was running, and I was fighting it up there with the highway patrols in California. And but I remember, that they were, hey, this is a non-CDL trailer. I didn't know all that, so I started learning in the process, and just started growing. Now I knew what a CDL, non-CDL. It was just, started growing. At the end, I think we were in it about a year. We had almost 15 trucks, and then after a year and a half, we had 25 trucks.
25.
So we had 25 hot shot trucks with, I think we had 28 or 29 trailers. So we had 35s, and then we had 40-foot trailers too in between. And after that, we bought another 10 box trucks, 24 feet and 26 with lift gates.
Oh, okay.
And then this is where it gets a little complicated. Some people can handle it. Maybe I was just too big for my own good. So we started buying semi trucks.
Oh, okay.
reefers, dry vans, and I think I grew too fast. I did that in about a year and 8 months.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we were running a multi-million-dollar business now,
Too
and
much of a
it was just
chance
too
of
much for me.
attracting the
Yeah.
salt.
But, oh, it's fine. It's okay. Okay.
More. We can
So this is what I like about this podcast, and this is what we're gonna bring in. It's just that a lot of people don't know, especially like me. I don't really know about dispatching trucking business, but and this is what I'm gonna be about to ask you some questions right now. But that's the thing, a lot of people think they could just go in, hey, trucking business. I'll just get my F-250 and then just go ahead and start. And it's gonna be a pretty easy start, but they don't really know the back end of the actual business, and that this is why it's very important that I want to shout out not just the graphic design industry, but I want to show other industries because everything at the end of the day, all the businesses maybe not run the same, but it always has not just the work. It also does the business part, which is like taxes and all the other stuff.
Yeah, everything comes behind it. When you're starting a hot shot business or any trucking business, I mean, I didn't see it as a transport. I just seen it as an investment. But at the same time, it's like, how can I do it where I don't put money out of my pocket? Because in the industry that I was in, like as an investor for homes, and I did a lot of them. When I say a lot of them, I probably did 314 houses, so I know the structure of it. So I figured, okay, maybe going into this industry, I can build all this momentum of trucks and money and blah blah blah, but I don't want to spend my money.
Yeah.
So I had excellent credit. I had corporate credit, and that's one of the things that you do need. I got a lot of stuff, with my corporate credit and some personal credit too when I first started my business as a logistics. So it was kind of like, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money. To be honest, I didn't want to. So I got a lot of stuff in credit. A lot of it in credit, and that's one of the main things that you can put a hot shot together because you're gonna get the truck with zero down, the trailer with zero down, anything to do with tie downs. You got 30 days to pay it. You got an Amazon credit card, do all this stuff, but where it's gonna hit you. Either if you have a high limit credit card would be the insurance.
The insurance.
The insurance is the most expensive part out of everything. And then after that, once you get it all set up, it's going to be the waiting time. Because you guys got to understand, guys, a new authority, a new MC number, they're not going to give you jobs right away.
Yeah.
But being in the industry for a long time like we have, we have a lot of connections that we can make it happen. For a lot of hot shotters or any new MCs. I always announce myself in TikTok, Facebook, and the websites. I even give out free 5 days free dispatching because we just want to prove to you that we can do it, and that we got the resources for it. We have an office here in Terrell. We don't work from home. We don't do. We come straight to the office and do what we got to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so, I mean, guys, there you go. It's you said 5 day free dispatching.
Yeah.
I really haven't heard it anywhere else. I mean, it's just proof that it's to earn their trust. It's not just to coming. Let me get your money. They do it to where they could earn your trust and know that they're gonna be a good fit for you, and it's not obligated. You're not stuck in a
contract. There's no nothing. If you're happy, that's fine. If you're not happy, that's fine. We become friends, But I will tell you, you will be happy because I have so many ideas as a hot shotter. I have so much in me that I'll share it. I'll share it for free. I'm not gonna charge you a bit for it, and trust me, you will make money. And put it this way, man, they trust us so much that we have 3 U.S. Marshals, retired guys with us, that they're coming on board. We got 1 on board, we got 2 more coming, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's how much trust. And they don't just trust you with their EIN number, they don't trust you with their picture, driver license. They'll do they want information about you too, so but that's how much trust we earn these guys. These guys are coming in. So, and that was important for us.
Yeah. And so, all right, so say there's a potential customer. he comes in. How do you get him started? What's the beginning things that you have to get started with?
The first thing he's got to do as a beginner, it can be for hot shots, it can be for anything. It doesn't matter what's he gonna do. Is get his LLC. His LLC. That's more combined for the logistics side of it. After that, you got that set up, your EIN number and everything, and then go buy your truck. But the way you have to structure it, once you have your LLC, you can buy your truck with the LLC, and you can co-sign for that loan for that truck.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the truck is going to be registered under your LLC. Everybody does it differently. They put it under their name. Now remember, even if you get the credit approved, under your LLC, it doesn't go on your credit. It will go on your credit because you're signing for the LLC.
Yeah.
If you let go of payment, and say you get one payment behind or two payments, it goes on your credit report. Say, hey, Junior, I'm going to report your company that you were behind, and I'm going to report you that you were behind. So that's the only downfall. But the good thing is that once you get it after and you've been good with your payments, it's on your credit for your company. And that's very important to know that, because I've seen almost the majority of the customers that we have, they have their LLC, but the truck is under their credit report. So they did it the other way around. Yeah. Does it take time to get credit? Yes. Okay, well, this is a lot of people, and the reason I'm talking is I went through it already.
Yeah.
So an LLC, you can create credit. You can create credit if you want, on the LLC. So that shouldn't be a problem. You can create credit, but it takes time to create credit. Now, if you tack on a loan on the LLC and you co-sign to the LLC, that automatically creates credit. And in your PAYDEX scores, they call them PAYDEX scores. It's I think it's from I'm not sure if it's 30 to 100 points. 100 is the highest. It's like a 800 FICO score. And it goes down. But anything over 80 points and up at the LLC, it's the best. And that's how you start it, to be honest with you. If you want to start it quick. If you want to take your time and create, you got to go through Uline. All these other, 30-day credit, they report to the credit bureau that to create credit on your. The process is too long.
Okay.
But man, if you can qualify, you have excellent credit. You got a 780 that you have, and you have an LLC. You can go buy the truck. All you have to do is just put it under your LLC, and you co-sign for your LLC.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, you co-sign. So they will give them something. Somebody will ask for, give me 3 months bank statements, give me a month. When you have an excellent credit like you have a lot of them, it's done because it's done. Yeah, because if you can't do it, if Dodge doesn't do it, or Chrysler, I believe it's Chrysler Credit can't do it, I know Ford will do it. I know, there's so many banks that want, because they want your credit. They're gonna say, oh man, he's co-signed, he's got a 780 FICO score that you have. And they'll give you that card, and after that, it's on, because you can get a big credit line, like a credit card. You can get a bunch of stuff. The game is there, guys. It's just easy. It's just knowing how to do it. It's knowing how to do it. That's how it is, and that's how I created, my fleet. That's how I created it. We had excellent credit, hard credit. Like, we bought a lot of trucks, and I did not buy them cash, because I don't want to buy them cash.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't know all this information. Like, for instance, me, right? I always had an idea to get into the trucking industry, right? And all I thought is just get my truck and just call someone for me to get dispatched. But people really don't know that a lot of goes through it. It's not just, like I said, just pick up a truck. And then at the end, because that's what people do, and that's what I was probably gonna do. Pick up a truck and then get into debt, because I don't know what to do.
And check this out: it goes into your credit report because you went and bought it.
Yeah.
You went and paid for it. You signed for that truck. Yeah. So you want to go buy a house? You're screwed, because that payment is $1,500. So you probably can afford a $50,000 house. So, but the other way, it doesn't go on your credit. You're co-signing for your LLC, and it goes under the LLC credit. Now, if you're if you say 30 days behind on that payment, now it
It
comes on
affects.
your credit. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it affects you.
See, and like that's something that I was struggling because I do kind of want to get in the trucking industry. It's just that right now, me and my wife are looking into a house, and that's the problem. You know, my thought is like, we want to. I know they said that you can't buy nothing till you get the house, because then everything affects even buying a car. And my wife we already took out a car from like CarMax, so it's already on our report. So imagine having 2 cars on the report and trying to get a house,
Yeah.
but. I didn't know we could just co-sign under the LLC,
yeah.
and then it won't affect.
It won't affect on your
And so even then, I could get the truck and still work and then be able to get the house too as well. It's just, that's a great thing, we're talking about this because, I want to show the people that there's many ways. There's not just like going and get into debt right away. There's many tips and tricks that you could do to, and the right people to talk to, like right here with Junior. That's why we're here. We're trying to get a little bit of what he knows, pick his mind from little things here from there, tell us what he could do. But, me as myself, I didn't know. I literally till right now, you're telling me my little light bulb just turned on. Like, I have another idea.
It's normal because it's something new for you guys, but I've been through it already, and I've been through it all. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been through it all. Like, I've been through hell and back in the business part. There's some truckers that have a lot of experience, probably more than me.
Yeah.
I agree, But business-wise, as an entrepreneur, I was 17 years old when I first bought my first property. It was a duplex.
Duplex.
I had to put it under my sister and my dad's name because I was still young.
Yeah.
But since then, it just went on. And I learned a lot in process. I was, I had a little small dealership too.
Oh,
A little
okay.
small
Nice.
one, So I did a lot of financing.
So that's why you kind of know about the truck game and all that.
I
stuff.
knew it, yeah. So it was easy for me to build that big momentum. It was easy, but there's more to it, and I'll let you guys know a little bit later on. But yeah, there's more to it than what I got involved with.
And so I do have one of the questions here, because as much as tips and tricks is giving us, and little get arounds on how to get your truck, LLC, and all this stuff. Nothing is free, and then nothing is always cheap. So what is the most expensive thing once you start getting started?
You know what? I think the most expensive thing was the insurance, but
Insurance.
I mean the deposit, $4,000, $5,000. I think that was the most expensive out of everything.
And that's
not even buying that. Man, I had $100,000 freaking Longhorn trucks, brand spanking new. I always had the best. The owners have the best.
the best one.
Yeah, the best one. So, I don't think that was even a problem for us because we would order them through the phone. We didn't go to the dealership no more.
Or you just
Big techs were just like, it's like, how many do you need? Well, I need 2 more trailers. I need, it was everything through the phone. After that, just go over there and sign the paperwork and get it over with. That really knew us. But yeah, big techs was something big for us. And but yeah, I think the most expensive for us was just that. Not even the fuel, because there was factory companies who say, "Oh, I'll give you half up front," but we had a big fuel card, and then we had another express cards and gold cards, so we played the money.
okay.
I mean, we played the credit cards, we played the banks. Anybody that would lend us, we got them.
Okay. And so when it comes to insurance and say the potential customers here, how do you help them in that, or is there someone that helps you do it?
You know what? I recommend Caden. We got creative, and the reason I'm getting all these calls from a lot of logistic carriers, I'm a go-getter. It's like I always put that on my husband, but the thing is, because you have to know that. There was customers that bought the truck, and they're like in big trouble. They're like, dude, I don't have the money for this, I don't have the money for that. So I started getting with the insurance guys and getting with some factories and say, hey man, I need some money for this insurance. You guys can supply a little bit of this, a little bit of that, yeah, we can learn so much and we can learn so much. I know some truckers don't like that, but hey, when you don't have the money and you gotta go, because you got a big payment, you got an $1,800 truck payment, you got a $5,600 or $1,000 trailer payment, and just sitting there, you gotta make something happen.
Yeah.
So I got hooked up with Caden. He's awesome. He's an insurance, Taylor Insurance. He'll probably be on the line. Yeah, he'll be on the line.
You can bring him in.
Yeah, bring him in. And then we have US Capital.
Okay.
You know, US Capital too. They'll lend us some. So what I started doing is bringing in these new guys and sending them their way, and they got set up with some funding for their insurances. And instead of coming up with $4,000, they only came in with $1,800, $1,700. There was another customer that came with $900 out of his pocket.
Oh, wow.
So it was like man, the savings is there, and if you don't got the money, you know, call us. We'll guide you in the right direction. And it's free. I don't know. We don't have to charge, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people always got to tell you, that's fine, but you know what? We don't have anybody. I'm not gonna take it to the grave, so I'm just gonna give it away.
And that's the cool thing about that, because there's a lot of there's this word called gatekeeping. I don't know if you heard it, where some people in the industry, not only dispatching, but every industry, they don't want to give out tips and tricks because they think they're gonna steal your customers. But the main thing about here is what I've been learning from a lot of I could even say mentors or friends or people in the business, that it's not really about the money. It's not really about that. It's about the relationship you got with your customer. So imagine the guy, you're going to waste the relationship, waste the customer because you want to make the most money out of him. Yeah, you might make the money right away in the first job or whatever, but then he's like, nah, it's too expensive, so let me go with somebody else. Yeah. Instead of, maybe not making as much, or having that customer come back to back, and then the cool thing, you get to know him almost like a friend, a close friend that he recommends you to other people, instead of the person that you made really a lot of money that first time, but you don't know his contacts.
Yeah, it's gone. You know, you know what I learned in the process of so many years in it is that the money, if you are in this business, the money is in the long-term relationships. You know, you can't get carried away too and start charging all these percentages and all these fees. I mean, come on, there's enough money for it, you know. A lot of people are like, dude, you're giving away 5 days, you know. Shit, I started 10 days and 7 days and 5 days, you know. I started with for free. Like, dude, you're giving away. I go, yeah, you got to understand, a lot of logistic carriers are burned out with different dispatchers. You know, they promise and they promise, you know. We won't promise anything, but we will tell you we will work hard, you know. I'd rather work in this industry than go work in the field, dude. Like 100 and I remember 113 degrees picking grapes and all that stuff, dude. I'll do this all day long. All day long. Yeah. We're getting paid $300 a week, 40 hours in the agriculture. So you know, we're from the agriculture land in Central. That's where we stayed at the end. You know, coming from Brownsville, Texas. Okay.
And so you say you got Caden. Can we bring him in the line?
Yeah, let's bring him in the line.
So you say you have someone that helps you with your with the insurance part of the business?
Yes, I do. His name's Caden from Taylor Insurance. He's an awesome guy, man. I've been dealing with him. He's been helping my customers. I mean, he's a go-getter, and that's what you want in your team. So Caden, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you guys this afternoon?
Pretty good. We just, he was mentioning that you help him out in the, and you also help out the customers in the insurance part of the business. Can you just do a little introduction of who you are, what you do, and how you help these trucking guys, go about their insurance and stuff like that? And then after that, I'll just have a few questions that I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a transportation specialist here with Tailored Insurance Group in Utah. We advocate and represent truckers to obtain the most competitive insurance quotes possible. We understand that it's really hard to get started in the industry, and we bring a lot of in-house programs to the table to make it as easy as possible to get started, especially in your first year in business.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a few questions that I have written down right here. So, what are the main types of coverage that truckers generally need to get started?
That's a little bit of a loaded question, but, when you're first starting out, a lot of people want to start off with the minimum coverage possible. So you'll need to have at least liability and cargo insurance depending on what you plan to haul. It really changes depending on the commodities, but you'll at least need to meet the federal minimums on liability for the type of truck you want to get, and I generally recommend having $1 million in liability regardless, just so that you meet all the brokers and shippers' needs. It's much easier to get loads that way, and we understand that it can be super hard to get loads in the first year in business, so we also offer a national shippers list. But so long as you meet all their needs, most of these guys on this list that we provide, there's about 2,000 different shippers. they'll all work with you so long as you have the right insurance.
Okay, so basically, there's a new guy getting into the trucking industry, and really don't know a lot of what type of insurance you need. You could walk him through and all that stuff, like to get the right insurance or what he needs at the time and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. We specialize in trucking, so we don't dabble in any other type of insurance. So when it comes to the trucking stuff, we can help guide individuals and get them to the finish line without costing them any extra money. And that's the biggest thing. You want to make sure you're set up correctly so that you can actually get loads, especially in your first year in business.
Okay. I do have another question right here that, a lot of people really don't know the difference between one and the other. So what is the difference between running under my own authority versus leasing under a large carrier?
Most of it comes down to the responsibilities you'll be in charge of and the costs associated with getting on the road. If you choose to lease onto a larger motor carrier, the setup cost is generally a lot lower, and there's a lot less responsibilities you'll be in charge of. So it's a great way to get some additional experience and learn a lot more about the day-to-day tasks that you'll need to handle if you do start your own operation. So, a lot of times, especially if you don't have a lot of experience driving or running a business in general, we do recommend leasing onto another carrier for a year or two, and that way you can see exactly how they run their own business. And it's a good way to also see if you're even interested in doing all that.
Okay, that's kind of just to get your foot on the door, taste a little bit of industry here and there, right?
Yeah, and it's a great way to save up. It's pretty expensive to start your own authority, so
Okay.
a lot of people do that so they can have the extra experience and be out in the industry driving, and they have a lot less responsibilities on the day-to-day side of things, so they can just keep saving up as much as possible. It doesn't mean that it's going to be way cheaper on the monthly expenses, but it is a lot cheaper to get on the road and start making money that way.
Okay. Perfect. And what are some of the biggest factors that affect the cost of trucking insurance?
Some of the biggest ones are driving records and driving experience that you're coming into the operation with. If you have a bad driving record, God forbid there's DUIs and stuff on there, it's going to be extremely hard for you to get on the road. So if you have anything like that, I would recommend hiring other drivers, which is only increasing the expenses for the day-to-day and the monthly. But realistically, you're going to wind up spending quite a bit more if you have a bad record or just not enough experience. Another big one is operation type. Hauling fuel and hazardous materials is going to cost a lot more than just hauling general freight with Amazon, for example.
Okay. But like you said, if they have like a bad record, are they still able to, you say they're still able to go through the insurance, it's just going to be cost a little bit more? Or is it just
It really
recommended?
depends what the driving record looks like, but there is markets out there that are set up specifically for individuals like that have no other options. But, when you break it down that way, there is no other option, so they're going to charge you for that. In a lot of cases, you wind up spending, $35,000 on liability insurance, and it could be a lot less. So in that case, I would recommend just trying to have as clean of a record as possible all throughout your driving career. It's your resume at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and we've been talking a lot about saving money, stuff like that. Are there any tricks in new companies that they could use to keep their insurance costs lower?
Kind of going back to the experience, if you're going to hire drivers and you're not going to drive yourself, just make sure they're as experienced as possible and implement as much safety equipment as possible into your operation. A lot of companies, a lot of insurance companies can offer additional discounts when you're willing to run an ELD and a camera in the truck at all times, especially if you have a fleet. So cameras protect truckers really more than anything else, since there's video footage available if a claim occurs. So it's very important that you're going to protect yourself. If you plan to do this long term, it's really not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you get in a claim, and it's much better to be prepared. Attorneys know that truckers carry a ton of liability insurance, and unfortunately, there's just no way around it. You have a target on your back. And those attorneys will reach out to anyone that you get in a claim with and try to, really escalate it and make sure they get paid as much as possible. And there are certain states where it's very common, I shouldn't say very common, but it's more common than other states to have a nuclear claim, which is basically the claimant receiving $1 million on that claim, getting settled in court for $1 million, and that puts people out of business.
Yeah, and there is a lot of people that they might be like, I don't want to invest in the cameras, I don't want to do that, but at the end of the day they want to save some money, but when say an accident comes up or something, they end up wasting more money because they're not covered or they're not secured, or how you say. And so sometimes it's better to kind of, it might cost you at the beginning, but it's going to help you later on through your career and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just wanted to buy Amazon cameras, the cheapest of cheap, for the first little bit, I mean, you're still better off that way than nothing at all. Over 70% of truckers are not at fault in these claims, and over 90% of them get found at fault because there's no video footage and it's all he said, she said. So if you end up in court, wouldn't you prefer to have video footage?
Yeah.
It's just much better that way.
Sure.
So, talking about like mistakes, that truckers do or tend to make or something like that, what's a common mistake that people make with the trucking insurance at the beginning?
One of the biggest ones is I would recommend planning out what you plan to haul from the very, very beginning. And that way you can gear everything towards that while you're still in the setup phases and getting everything ready to rock and roll. I had a call today where they went to switch the operation type, and they would have had to completely cancel every insurance policy they have for the business and basically start from scratch.
Okay.
Wow.
And
it's very common at the very beginning for people to have a hard time, like we talked about earlier. It's tough to get loads in your first year in business, so people will try to take anything they can possibly get. And in every insurance policy, there's exclusions, and there's certain companies that are just not willing to write that type of insurance. So if you go and switch everything up, your insurance may not be valid anymore.
Oh, okay. So, and it's really important because a lot of people are just like, I'm just gonna go get insurance and get working, but it's important to tell the one that's helping you get the insurance, what the things to do and not to do, because a lot of people think it's just easy to get the insurance to start working, but there's a lot of, there might be restrictions here and there that we don't necessarily always read the small print. We just think we get the insurance and we could start working, and you really gotta pay attention to all of that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot more that goes into commercial insurance than just personal insurance. They want to know everything about what you're doing. They're not just going to insure you not knowing what's going on. So they want to know exactly what you're hauling, exactly what type of trucks you have, exactly who's driving, the whole 9 yards. There's no way around it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's really important. So, like I said, insurance is one part of this industry. People just think, it's just pick up your truck and go drive, and they don't know, And so, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who wants to run under their own authority, what would it be?
Realistically, and a lot of people hate to hear this, but save up for a while, even if that means leasing on to another carrier for a minute. There's a lot of setup fees and costs associated with getting the business off the ground, especially in the first year. So if you already have a truck, depending on where you live, you'll still need, an additional $8,000 to $15,000 to get the business going, with all the fees and everything that's associated with the business. So to do it the right way, I would definitely recommend just doing your research, hang back, and keep saving up until you're ready to get going right off the rip. You don't want to be paying for stuff that you're not using.
Okay. Yeah.
True.
And is there anything else that you would like to share that, something that might be really important for the beginners, or not only beginners, there might be people are doing this for years, but, they just don't get into that business part of the industry. They just go ahead and work. Is there anything else you might, share with us?
I think it's really important to find somebody who, you match up with personality-wise. Find somebody who can be an addition to your team when it comes to the insurance. You want to find a broker who's willing to help you out and do whatever it takes to keep you in business, because it really does come down to team effort.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking to here with Junior right now. Is about, creating that relationship, and not only with, like Junior, you create a relationship with you, with many people that you really didn't expect to create a relationship with. and that's like a business relationship that people just don't really know. It's just pretty easy to say, hey, I'm gonna pick up my tools and start working, but you can't do everything by yourself. You need help, and obviously we have to invest in it. And a great team, how you mentioned it, is the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. You really can't do everything on your own, especially if you're starting your own business, because a lot of individuals end up driving, they're booking their own loads, they're keeping track of the maintenance on the truck, they're trying to pay everybody and receive all the funds that they're due. There's just so much that goes into it. So whenever you fall short, it's nice to have a team, even if that's, insurance partners or factoring partners who can step in and, hey, you need a little bit of help on this down payment. Let's give you, a deferred down payment, which is something that our agency offers. If you qualify, we have an in-house program where we can offer you, a portion of your down payment. It's not a huge amount. We're not a bank, but we can absolutely help out with a portion. And a lot of times, per truck, it winds up being somewhere between $500 and $750. And what that's designed for is to keep some cash in your pocket and make it easier to start the business, because God forbid you need some tires or fuel. At least you have that money in your pocket that you can use towards that. And another big one is that national shippers list I mentioned earlier. You want to make sure you have contacts and friends in the industry that you can reach out to at all times that are willing to give you loads and can actually assist. And again, that goes back to just having partners and friends in the industry.
Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I was talking to Junior, and he says one of the most expensive things at the beginning is the insurance, and that's great that you're partnered up with Junior, and then not only does he just help on the dispatching, he also helps leading them to you, so it's pretty perfect on how y'all two are partnered up and working together, and I really want to go ahead.
Sorry, I was just agreeing with you. I think it's great to have kind of a circle going there, because especially where it comes down to the insurance. If there's ever something that Junior needs for one of our customers or vice versa, we can always reach out to each other, and it's direct with the broker. We can make sure that COI gets updated and sent right back to Junior so he can give you that load. One of the biggest reasons that people miss loads is not being able to get a certificate of insurance fast enough. So if we can communicate directly with your broker, that's super helpful. And one of the other services that we offer is a certificate portal. So you'll never miss a load again. You can jump on your phone, your computer, whatever you need, and grab your own certificate and send it out directly to your broker. So even if it's midnight, you didn't miss that load.
Okay. No, yeah, perfect. And well, Caden, I think those are the questions that I have for now. This is gonna be our first interview here, and hopefully have many more. And hopefully we could next time have you on the screen or something so we could see who we're talking to. But it was really nice to meet you, and this is gonna help a lot of people, because a lot of people don't want to give out, these tips and tricks away, and some people just going straight and start getting into debt without knowing there's these helps that you could get. You don't have to break your pockets right away. You could just get help right away. It's just that's why we're doing this podcast, to show other people how to get in the industry, make it a little bit easier for them to get started. And like I said, I really appreciate you for coming in this podcast, and hopefully we could have you another time as well.
Absolutely. I'm happy to help. That's something that you'll find out about me. I like to assist wherever I can. And if I can, I'd like to leave just a quick plug. I feel free to call me anytime, anyone who needs help. My number is 385-360-7988. I'm with Tailored Insurance Group here in Utah, and you can call me anytime.
All right, perfect. I'll make sure I put this information on the screen, and hopefully, you and Junior could, partner up and get more, more people coming in.
That sounds great to me. Well, thank you again for having me on the show.
No, thank you so much.
See you later, Caden. Enjoy, man.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Thanks again.
All right,
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Perfect. Yeah, guys, so there you go. You see, not only does Junior help you, get work, he's going to keep you constantly working, getting more work, more dispatching and stuff. Not only that, he's going to help you. You say you also work with you partner up with someone here to do taxes and stuff, because
We do that.
not only that, right? We do taxes. You have to worry about the end of the year, your taxes and stuff. So
We do taxes here too for our truckers, corporate taxes, DBA taxes for your trucking. If you don't have an LLC, you know, your IFTA taxes, your quarterly taxes, you know. Her name's Cassandra. She didn't just do taxes, she'll do dispatch.
oh, too.
Yeah, so she's here, you know,
Okay.
with us. So call us at 800-700-1234 or follow us on our website, www.sunvalley.enterprise.com. There's some surprises on there. You know, there's some links for our the insurance, Taylor Insurance. Make sure you sign up right there. You know, there's another link for U.S. Capital Factoring Company. They'll help you with their down payment too, assistance. They call it a down payment assistance. If you're in need, but yeah, follow us on www.sunvalleyenterprise.com.
Okay, perfect. So let's now we got to the part where, you know, this is how we could help you, or Junior could help you right here. Now, like I said, not only with dispatching, but with the insurance and the taxes. Now I'd like to ask you some personal questions about your business,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
something personal about you. What are your biggest challenges that you have faced so far, like during this journey?
Wow, man, that's a great question. Challenges there in logistics. There's a lot of challenges, guys. I've been an entrepreneur for years, and from restaurants to dealerships to, man, everything. Yeah, a lot of agriculture, farm labor contractor. So my biggest challenge in the logistics side of it is you gotta wake up early. This business is early bird. That's one of the things, and be ready to work.
Yeah.
You know, mentally, physically, emotionally, like you gotta leave everything behind. Like you gotta really concentrate as a driver, as a carrier, and as an owner. You really gotta be mentally and physically and emotionally very, very, very strong, because it comes, you know, behind you that there's so much as an owner and as a driver. Of course, you know, there's a lot to it too, but you can drive, you know. But as an owner, I mean, it gets pretty hefty, pretty very, very hefty. So you have to be very prepared, you know, financially too. You know, you gotta. Yeah, it's something very important to have.
Yeah, and it's like every day, you know. It's not only a decision that you have to make. You have your wife, you have your kids, so it's something that even as a relationship, you have to go back to be like, hey, what do you think if I should do this? You know, it's something sometimes hard, but you know, at the end of the day, it pays off. I feel like it pays off, and nothing starts off pretty quick and fast and easy. You know, everything starts.
No, and believe it or not, you said something very important. You know, your better half has a lot to do with the business. Even if you say, "Wow, I don't care," you know, I'm still gonna do it. You know, she does have a lot to do with it, because when you're on that road as a carrier, you're talking to her like, how you doing? You know, I mean, because you miss it, you know. So she has to be prepared to, you know, to let you go on the road, you know, 4 or 5 days, you know, on the road. It's gonna happen, you know, because you're not gonna be around your house, come back unless you have a dedicated run, you know. But it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, especially being a brand new authority. That's, you have to go. You have to go out on the road, and other brokers other carriers that offer drivers, they'll let you know. You know, you're gonna be out there on the road.
Okay.
I mean, there's, you know, these 3 weeks. You know, that other week might be around local or you know, bringing you back, but yeah, you're gonna be on the road.
So talking about that, right? I mean, like I said, nothing is like rainbows and sunshine and nothing. What keeps someone like motivated when things get hard like that? You know, sometimes you're like, man, I'm gonna miss my kid's birthday, or you know.
You know, the first thing on that, I like that, because the first thing is just get God on your side, man. Has a lot to do on the road, because you know, pray, man. That road ain't easy. You know, that's the first thing you got to do. Just, you know, please keep God on your side. That was something that you need Him, especially being on the road. Another thing too, what keeps you motivated, being as a carrier, as a driver, you know, it was about making the money the money for your family. You know, you make $20,000
Yeah.
You know, $15,000. You know, 26,000, 32. I've seen 38,000. You know, a month. You know, minus your deduction, minus
All
your
that.
fuel, minus. You know,
Yeah.
but it's doable. You know,
Yeah.
there is money in logistics. You know.
Logistics. And you know, fun fact, I actually met Junior at we're going to like these what do you call them, like kind of like classes
Yeah, classes.
here at a Catholic church that we go to. We met there, and we kind of clicked right away. Remember, we kind of clicked, and that's how I met him. You know, and then one important thing you said, a lot of people, well, it's to your own belief, right? But we believe in God, and we believe that we can't do anything without God and stuff like that. But that's a fun fact. That's how we actually met. But yeah, it's a lot of things that go into the business, and not only this business. Every other business has its own, you could say, sacrifices and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not forever. You know, it's that you might sacrifice yourself a couple years, and then as you go on, you probably hire people, and then you get to a point where you just stay in the background and, you know, get the guys. But the beginning is always sacrifice at least.
Always
Some mentor told me, he said, at least sacrifice 3 years. If you do everything how you're supposed to be right and do it right, you get to the point that 3 years you could not necessarily not be in the office or whatever, but just you could step down a little bit, you know, and spend time more your kids, and, you know, let the business work for itself, you know, and it's important, and it's not easy, you know. It's like a lot of people say, being a business owner or entrepreneur is not for the weak. And I had my tests, you know, like I have so many tests that even now, like right now where my work is kind of slowed down, I'm like, what am I gonna do? But, you know, like I said, always faith on Christ, on God, that everything's gonna be fine. But not only that, we have to put in the work too as well. So, you know, it's not like praying is just gonna give us everything. You know, we also have to put in work. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you know, that goes through into this business. You know, another question is, what does success look like for you, like personally or professionally? Well, how do you know this is success? Well, how do you look at success?
As a logistic, I think success for me at the time when I climbed that humongous mountain and I was up in the top, you know, I said, wow, you know, I see my trucks. We had, I think, 2 yards, big yards. Our humongous office, you know, with we had I think 12 employees at the office. You know, so it was. That's when I seen, wow, I succeeded. I made it happen. You know, now we're here at the top. You know, because we were the biggest hot shotters in California. So we took that market. So we didn't let a lot of other hot shots from other states come in because we were there. You know, so we were one of the biggest. But I think that's when I said, okay, we did it. You know, I accomplished it up to that point. You know, there's more to it though. You know, there's more to the story. But you know, that's where I thought I succeeded there.
And what's one key habit or mindset shift that just changed everything for you? Like what keeps you going? Like what keeps you, you know,
motivated? You know, motivation for the business. I think it was more about, you know, growing it. You know, I put one truck, I put another truck, and it just went on and on. So it was motivating me to just keep going and going and going and going, and, you know, until you're growing, and that's what my motivation. You know, yeah, there is a lot of sacrifices behind it, a lot of it, but that was my motivation, just growing the business, you know, truck after truck after truck after truck after truck, you know, and that's what
keeps going.
Keeps me going.
And sorry, I'm just checking because the clock is a memory that we have on the thing, but no worries, I'm just checking the clock. But when did you realize things were like starting to take off? Like when you were like, oh my God, it's actually working? Because
when I had 5 trucks, after my 5th truck, I was like, oh man, I hit the jackpot. Like
Yeah.
I was like all happy, like, oh my, we got 5 trucks and we're doing this and we're doing that. And my problem all the time that I always created like the office, like a massive office. I had like a whole thing because remember, you're an entrepreneur, you want things to do, you want things right.
Yeah.
So you had a computer, you had a desk, you had people working, you know, and people like, dude, you're growing your office too big. Yeah, because I'm gonna be big.
Big, yeah.
You know, so my office was like getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I only had 5 trucks, and I was just growing and growing and growing, and I was pushing and pushing, you know.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, man, this is more exciting.
More exciting,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
more exciting for me, and you know, it just gave it more gas, and you know,
Yeah.
but there's always something behind it. So
Yeah,
keep on going, yeah.
There's a lot of people that start, like, people sometimes don't even start a business because they're scared to fail. But a lot of people don't know, like, you have to fail. You know, all successful people are not perfect. They had to fail. That's why they learn how to get to the position they are, because you have to fail because you have to know what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's what people don't understand. Some people just give up. You know,
Yeah.
they see their first struggle and they're like, you know what, I can't do it. But it's like you said, sometimes you also have to have that mindset. Like you said, I want to keep growing. And so you have to have that mindset to, you know, I don't know, maybe there's no work, but I ain't going to sit down and go look for more work, you know, and that's how everybody has to have a mindset. It's not easy. I'm not saying it could just like click a button and you have that mindset.
It's not. You know, the bigger, and they always said it, and other bigger companies know this. You know, the bigger you are, the more problems you're gonna have. You have to deal with them. Though.
Yeah.
You know, you have to deal with this. You have to deal with that. You know, you got to deal with. It's true. You know, when I started growing, there was more problems. Oh, that this broke down. Oh, this. You know, everything. Even man, it was just. It goes on and on and on, like so much to it, but you just gotta mingle it, and you gotta put it together and make sure, you know, because you're growing, and it's not stopping you. It's not gonna stop you because you're like, okay, I want to have like, dude, at the time I wanted to have 50 hot shots, like 50 of them. Like the people are like, you're crazy. No, I want 50. You know, that was my mindset, and nobody was telling me nothing. I was just going on. Nobody would either, because you got all the beginners calling me like, what can I do? But I didn't have time for them to explain what to do. I wanted to, but I was growing my business that it was just, you know, like I was concentrating, you know, not like now, you know, I'll help you. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll give you my information for free. I don't care. Like, you know, I want you to succeed. You know, there's a couple of recommendations, which I'll let you guys know later on in the video. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much in this hot shot business and logistics, you know, box trucks, you know. I was growing. I had dedicated lanes already, like big companies. I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on, you know. And I was barely, when that started, I barely think on my 8th truck, truck, yeah. Okay. And I was already buying box trucks after that, and then some more hot shots. So there's more to the story, but I'll get to it, you know, as we go on.
So yeah, like I said, there's sacrifices, you know. It's not always easy to get started, but how do you stay creative? What do you do here in the office, or I don't know, how do you get inspired and be creative to keep going?
Being as an entrepreneur, you have to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember getting creative in financing. Like, dude, what is a creative financing? I didn't even know, but it's a word that they use, investors use. Get creative financing, you know, get creative how to finance a car, get creative, you know, just get creative. And so I grabbed all that experience and did creative things, you know, like, dude, think about it. A creative website. Go to my website. Who gives out 5 free days of dispatching? That's what you call creative. Like, do something different that other dispatchers are not doing. Do something different that other people are not offering. Do something different that, you know, give away stuff, you know, give away information and help them out, you know, whatever it is. Get creative with them, you know?
Yeah.
and it's very important, when you're getting creative, gaining that trust with those drivers, those carriers. And some of them don't know a lot, and some of them just buy their truck and trailer instead of first get your LLC first.
Yeah,
before you
get
do
everything.
anything. Yeah, get that's your first thing,
Yeah.
And then after that, you get creative.
Creative.
Yeah, you get creative financing, you get creative corporate credit, you get creative, everything is creative on, once you get your LLC.
LLC.
Yeah.
And that's on everything, because like even me, I got the design business, right? I'm the one that, you're a graphic designer, you got everything. You could create your business cards and stuff like that. But not only that, there's a million of me, a million designers. So I got to be unique, and I'm not saying that I'm going to do something that nobody else does. But even just like this, I decided to start this podcast, a lot of people do the same thing, it's just about getting out of your comfort zone and do something something different than other people do,
Yeah.
And like I said, build those relationships with the customers. Yes. It's not just a money sign. That person's not just a money sign, he's
I agree. Free. A man right here. Free. A man right here, he didn't want to accept it. He just said, but you know what? That's how much I trust him, man. Like so much, any customers that I get, I pass them over to, hey, he needs this, he needs that,
And that's the thing about why I keep emphasizing on relationships.
Yes.
It's not only business. Like I said, we met at church, and right there we clicked. And I didn't do that. Oh, I'm gonna give him free so he could give me free stuff. No, it's more just to I want you to trust me. Look, this is my work. Here, you like it. If you do, you come back to me and I'll give me work, and vice versa. And that's why I emphasize a lot on relationship. It's to have that trust, like you said, that word trust about. I could rely on him. I could definitely. I know if I call him, he'll help me and stuff like that. And that's perfect. Also, I do have another question. Talking about that as well. Now that we're kind of we have been in the industry for a couple years and stuff like that. What will you give? What advice will you give someone that is trying to start in this field?
Start slowly.
Slowly.
Yeah, start slowly. Don't try to grow how I grew. In a year and 8 months. Learn the process, learn it, once you get your LLC, your truck trailer, your insurance lined up, everything, learn it. Go out there, get on that truck. I did it. You get on that truck, learn the process, and have that mentality where you want to grow your business, but at the same time, be careful. That was one of my downfalls, that I just wanted to grow, but there was more to it behind it, there was a bunch of stuff behind it that I was thinking by growing, I can do massive things, and there is massive money, getting that big, but that's when problems come in, mentally, physically, and emotionally problems they start coming in, problems where, now you got drivers, you're so big that drivers are, fuel's going like bye-bye, somebody's taking fuel, little things like that, wrecks. There's more wrecks now when they start, it gets a little bit more complicated, and it goes on and on and on and on, Would I tell you to grow that big? No. I think for your own good, I think leave that to big corporations that have millions and millions of dollars behind them. I think, 5 trucks will be okay for your life. I think 5 trucks is enough, especially and then from there, once you get those 5 trucks for at least 3 years, 4 years under your belt, maybe, if you want to grow, that's fine. But I think the max, if I started again, I think I would grow with my first truck, second truck, maybe 5, and that's it. I won't go any further than that. Would I do it right now? Nah. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. That's. I'll do a couple of runs, but I'll stay there, a couple of runs. Yeah. Buddy of mine invited me to do a couple of runs. I'm gonna do them just to get out there and pound the boots, get the wheels turning again, get that little feeling, and then come back,
Yeah.
But I think that's it. But I think my mistake was I grew too big for my own good, and I failed.
and that's kind of dangerous, you know, because it happened to me, you know, when I started my business too. My first time we started working my construction business, man, that first paycheck, I was surprised. I never seen that much amount of money in my life. Like, to me, I seen it, but I never seen it like for me to see it.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was just like, you know, and it goes back to anybody, you know, like sometimes just because you're doing good, it's not necessarily you're doing good, you know. It's just the beginning, and then sometimes we might get blinded or not minded. We like you said, we might be go-getters and stuff, but we think we're doing everything right because we're seeing the money rising and rising. But it's like, well, especially at the end of the year, you don't know how you pay taxes. I remember the first time I had to pay my business taxes. I like the tax lady, you got this, and that. Like, I'm sorry, lady, I don't know what lingo you have. I don't know the business lingo. Where's your insurance? Where's your ACH payments? Where's your payment for your guys? And I'm like,
what animal are you talking about
I don't
now?
know. I don't know. Just tell me what I need to bring. And there's when you start getting the struggles, and boom, you see, oh man, virus took so much money, and then there's where you start getting confused, you know. But it's always, you know, start, like you say, start slowly, start learning the actual business from not just the business, because as a construction worker, I thought I would just pick up a hammer and keep going. But no, it's even with the design, I thought I would just get a computer and design. No, you gotta take in fact that, like, for instance, as a designer, I can't just, obviously I could start up with any regular computer, but if I start getting, like, now that I got into wall apps and stuff, my computer's not gonna take that big file. My computer crashes.
Yeah, it's too
in
big.
the same way.
Yeah, I recommend that you're getting into this business, make sure you have your accountant or you know, bookkeeper. You know, we have one here.
Oh, nice.
So it'll help our drivers, you know, and because we keep records, they can send us all the information she needs. Cassandra is the one in charge of that.
Okay.
Cassandra, she's here at the office.
So yeah, like a one-stop shop.
Yeah, one-stop shop, a little bit of everything. She'll do your IFTA taxes, your quarterly taxes, your yearly taxes, your, you know, she'll do all the taxes, you know, but just, she has all your information if you're doing we're doing your dispatch. But yeah, I mean, she's here in the office. But what I will tell you, get that prepared, because you will be making some money. You're gonna need some write-offs. You're gonna need this. You're gonna need that, and it goes on and on and on and on. But make sure you have your LLC ready to go. I mean, talk to your tax person. I mean, she might want a S corp, a C corp. I don't know, but mainly all drivers are running LLCs. You know.
And like I mentioned right now, right, there's two pages to this thing, right? Like I just said, just because you're doing good, maybe money-wise, is not necessarily meaning you're doing good. So my other question here is, have you ever had any failings, any mistakes that literally turn into blessings? You know, not all mistakes.
Being here, talking to you guys, you know, it's a blessing for me being here, and I'm glad, you know, Eduardo from Sketch to Success. I love that word. You know, me being here and explaining my story, you know, to you guys out there, you know, it's a blessing because I get to help you guys, you know, and you guys can hear my story, ask me questions, call me, man. I'm available, you know. I don't care what it is. It's just I have so much experience in me and so many things in my life that I've done, especially in the logistics, because what goes up, I came down, and I came down hard. So I understand what's going up and what's going down. You know, I learned it. I never expressed it like now, but hey, man, I'm getting older, so I better share this with the guys.
Yeah.
I seen a lot of youngsters out there, you know, 30 years old, 35, 25, getting into this business and making money, and they're happy as hell. But if they don't got their stuff lined up, it can affect them later on. And you might lie on the first year, second year, but be ready on the third year. Your IRS, they ain't dumb.
Yeah.
They're gonna come after you. Like, hey, you know what, you lied here, you lied there, and there's gonna be penalties after penalties after penalties. And by the time you know it, I mean, they're on your house knocking.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey man, you owe this money. Where are we gonna collect it from? We're gonna put a lien on your house. We'll start doing stuff. There's so much to it. You have to be careful. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it, and I'm glad you brought it up. Accounting, your accountant, you know, your bookkeeper that's putting your paperwork, it has your IFTA taxes, you know, too. And you gotta really, really, really have somebody there for you. You know?
Yeah. I like the word that you said, and everybody has heard it. That word expertise. A lot of people say I'm an expert in this, but what does expert really mean? Expert means a lot of people think, oh, he's an expert. That means he knows how to do everything. But the reason he became an expert is not because he knows everything. Well, technically he does. It means that he knows the good side of the business and the bad side of the business. That's the experience. So a lot of people might come and just tell you the good things. Hey, so what can I do to do this, to do that? But they never tend to ask the question like, what do I keep away from doing? You know, what do I have to like? It's tempting to do this. Instead of doing this, what should I not do? Everybody just wants to hear, what should I need to do? Tell me all the good things that I need to do, but no one ever
bad things behind
what
it.
should I not do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's very important. You know, there's a guy that comes on TikTok, Moreno Globo. I like to hear him because he has a lot of stories that kind of remind me of me. I don't know what year he started. I started in 2015. You know, so I just, you know, but he talks about a lot of his stories, and a lot of people talk, you know, like things that, you know, like about him, but he defends himself and he has every right. I respect him. I don't have nothing against him. I respect the guy, and you know, he's from Houston. But I agree. I agree with what he says, and I agree how he is, because he has suffered. He's been through where we've been through, dirt, mud. You know, we've been to the ground. We've been, you know, shook him off, but look where he's at. He's a very successful man. I respect the man, where he came from, and you know how many downfalls he had in his life. His wife backs him up. That's very important, man. Right. That's very, very, very important as a logistic driver or a carrier, whatever you want to call it. It's very important your wife backs you up. You know, if you see his videos, it's always his wife, and it's always him, his kids. That on the kid stuff, that comes with time, because your kids will be growing into the business. You know, young kids are very savvy now, so they can come up with a lot of stuff. They're old school. You know, I'm like, you know, I'm his age. You know, but I like it. I like it. You know, another thing too, my sister. You know, she convinced me to get into this business in 2014. She started talking to me in 2015. I made it happen. Yeah. You know, and now she's becoming a broker. She's becoming a broker. Her new solution freight broker. So she's jumping into a different game. She's gonna be out there, guys. So wait for her. You know, she might have some notes for you. You know. So Esme, I'll see you there too, man. I'm here. So yeah.
Yeah, and how you were talking about that. What was his name?
Moreno. Yes.
So I know from what you told me, there's a lot of not controversy, but a lot of people talk bad because they make it seem like, oh, he has everything, so why is he talking like that? He doesn't know because he has the money now. But people really don't know that people that have money, they have that money because they failed. They went through the dirt. They went from they might have gone all the way to the clouds, and they might have dropped all the way to like third ground, and people don't know that there's a struggle. People just see them because, like, that's why I say, like, they see them now when he's up there putting TikToks and people are just straight hating on him. You don't know what suffering is, but no, the way he suffered to get to that point. Now when he's trying to defend himself, is like, yeah, it might sound harsh words, but that's a reality. That's reality, and people don't like it. People are just like, I get offended because I don't like what he said. How we say in Spanish, se cree muy, because, you know, he has money. But it's not about that. It's just like he's talking to you this way because this is what he had to go through to get into that position. Obviously, you never saw him. No one ever paid attention when he was down here. But now that he's up there, instead of, like, I'm not saying to praise him or nothing, but it's just, you know,
congratulate him. Like, he's come from nothing, you know, again, to where he's at right now. You know, I see everything. I see the structure, you know, because remember, I'm an entrepreneur, so I know a lot of things in life, you know, that's happened, you know, and I admire the guy. I'm happy for him. I will be happy for him. You know, I got your back. You know, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really understand other people that are not entrepreneur or doesn't have the mindset that we have. And I say we, they're not gonna understand us. It's always gonna be a negative thing and take. Oh, look what he did. Oh, look, and you know that's gotta stop, guys. You guys gotta understand this guy negative. This guy is at where he's at because he's struggled and he's put everything into it. And you know what? He rolled the dice. He put everything into his business, and you know what? He's successful now. He's a very successful man. He teaches a lot. His wife teaches a lot on TikTok, you know, about this, about that, and I love that. You know, they're coming up with a new book. You know, that's exciting. That's like, dude, that's pretty awesome. You know, and I love that. You know, and his kids are 100% right behind him, man. I respect that guy, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day I have a meeting with him and I'll talk to him.
We'll tag him once we upload this video, put it on TikTok. We'll tag him. You can see it. You know, hopefully you can see shout us out or something.
Yeah, I like to talk. I like to go way back. Me and him are about same age, so I like to go way back. You know, when we started and he started, and you know, I love it, man. So yeah.
And like you were just mentioning what he does, and I'm pretty sure you do. I got to a point where my business started slowing down, not because it's mostly because of my fault. You know, I wanted to do everything by myself. I wanted to be the bookkeeper. I wanted to do the bidding. I wanted to do the actual work and stuff like that on both businesses. Got to a point where I literally had to ask my wife because I had so much pride that I'd be like, nah, I could do it myself. I don't need my wife just to do it. To a point like, no, I really need my wife, and that's really important because I look up to many people, but two people that I really look up to is someone that I know. His name, I consider him a friend. His name is Eric Hernandez. He has a roofing company. Man, I saw him when he started just a company working for somebody, and then he started his business. Matter of fact, I think he started his business when I started my design business, and now he's big. And he's one of the biggest motivators. He actually got me into doing the wall wraps and stuff like that because he has a lot of motivation. You know, he doesn't tell me like grab my hand or nothing, and he's not like he tells you the things how they are. You know, he doesn't talk to you like sweet or
that's
whatever.
how it's supposed to be.
But it's stuff like I remember when he told me to do the wall wrap. I'm like, man, I have done it, but I've done it when I used to work over at the shop. And he's like, just do it. What's the worst that could happen? If you mess up, let's just reprint it again. And so I went ahead and did that. Another person is my cousin. He's a lot of things too. He's a good entrepreneur. His name is Edgardo. He started as a barber. He used to cut my hair, or he still does, in backyard of my aunt's house and stuff like that. And then from there, he opened his first shop with one of his friends, and now he's actually opening another shop right now that we're gonna do some wall wraps there too as well. But what I seen, and this is where I started incorporating and asking my wife for help, is that a partner has to do a lot with your business, you know, because you can't do everything by yourself. And that's what I've been seeing about them too. Is just that their wife is there all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe even you could say my brothers are gonna love you or whatever, but they're not gonna be there all the time. Your wife is the only person that knows what holes you're in, where, you know, you're scratching walls to get out the, you know, outside and stuff. Like, she's the one going through it with you. So the only person that you could really ask is your partner, and both of y'all gonna, you know, find one way or another. And I think that's the main important thing, is like, you can't just do everything. Just because you're the man doesn't mean that you could do everything by yourself.
You know, that's what I always say. Make sure your better half is with you. Make sure that she's there for you, because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it, and you know, it's hard to do it yourself. You know, I got the same way. I'm the one doing this. I'm the one doing that. But it gets to a point where, like, hey man, you're gonna get a stroke. Like, you're gonna get a stroke. You're gonna it happened to me. You're gonna get a stroke. You better be careful. You better do this. You better do that. You know, and it cost me a lot. Even with my partner, you know, and it just cost me so much at the end. Like, it was just so much for me. You know, so much for me.
And we can't lie. I mean, we always say that different, but girls almost know everything. Like that 7 cents, you know?
That 7 cents.
That 7 cents. They're like, don't do it. Nah,
and then we do it, and we're like, stuck. Oh,
and we don't want to hear it when they say, we told you so.
And they're like, now what do I do?
What I do, but you know, sometimes you need that person to be, not to disrespect, but nagging. You know, hey, don't do this. Hey, that's not the case all the time that they tell you not to do. But you know, you have to sometimes listen to a different opinion. You know, it's like, and you have to see it in a different point of view because, like you said, when you said that you wanted to keep growing, your mindset was just growing, but you weren't seeing the other side.
Yeah.
And maybe you needed a different opinion, you know. And sometimes when you get to a certain point, you don't want to hear nobody because you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
But then you get hit, and you're like, wait, what happened? And you sometimes even start blaming other people. No, it's because this person, but then it's ourselves, you know. It's that stuff that no, it's not nobody, it's me. It's just I was just hard headed and stuff.
And that's a good point. When something happens, you have to take the responsibility of taking it. You know, you started it, you did it, and you screwed up. You know, take that responsibility because it is hard to swallow though.
Yeah.
You know, as an entrepreneur and as having so much experience, you know, I had to swallow so much of my pride, so much of my mistakes. You know, I never thought logistics was going to be like cruel to you. I mean, it's cruel. When it's cruel, I say when it's cruel to you, you know.
Yeah.
But I learned from my lesson. You know, I learned a lot. I learned so much, you know.
Yeah. It's you know, even like you say, you have so many years of experience. You're still learning. I'm pretty sure. Like,
I'm learning every day from the new stuff. You know, new guys. Even I learn from everybody. I guess when you're an entrepreneur, you have to grasp from everybody. It doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter what they do, what type of business. You're an entrepreneur. Your mind has been set since I was 17 years old, like that. Like to grasp anything, any ideas. It just grab them, sponge them up, and then convert them into your business that you're going to create. So that's why they say that we're entrepreneurs, but we're creative entrepreneurs. So we call it creative, you know, creative, whatever it is, create the business, but you have to be creative to put it together, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle to put a business together because, I need 50,000, I need 16,000. Man, I don't even see the number. I just have to get creative how to get it going and then how to maintain it, you know, open for so long, you know, this and that. You know, I guess, you know, that's the only thing. When you jump into this business and you agree to sign that paperwork for your LLC and your truck and your trailer, you're getting creative of what you're doing. You have to be a creative investor because you're an investor for your business, you know. And you got to work for it. That's the worst part. You got to be work for it and suffer for it for a little bit, you know.
And that's the thing, because like when I started my construction business, I was still doing the design, but that was like a side job type of thing, right? And when I started my construction business, I was at a job where if I went to work or if I didn't go to work, I got paid. I was getting paid salary, and there was even days whole weeks where we didn't even work and we got paid. I got too comfortable, but we weren't making that money. We weren't making.
You got that little cash.
Coming in, and we got too comfortable to like one October. I think it was October. Me and my uncle, we worked together. He's my age, my uncle. Yeah. And he's like, man, I'm trying to get my house, and I was like, man, I'm just trying to start my business. And we left that job. Well, before we left the job, I had started my company, and then I went ahead and, you know, posted out there, and there's a friend that saw it and then recommended me to this apartment complex, and I had to take that risk, man. I was like, my wife was like, don't take it. We just barely have our firstborn. We barely moved out from your parents' house, like, and my wife knows, like, we were doing bad, like, not in a bad where I was just like barely making it for pay rent, but I would have too much pride that I didn't want to ask for my parents. I just let my parents. I don't want to. Yeah, go back. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna figure out one way, and I was like, I have to, because a lot of people don't want to take a risk. People just want to be comfortable.
But you know what? You're an entrepreneur. You have to take a risk no matter what. Yeah. You know, when you took that step to go on your own, and you had all this, you know, you have to. That's another thing. You have to get that W-2 mindset off. Yeah. Like that has to stop. Like that W-2 is gone. Like you're a 1099, self-employed, investor, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. Like you have to like shut it down and create a new world and think like that. You know what? You know, watch. YouTube has a lot of you know, videos that are you know that.
Show you everything.
Show you everything. I mean, they have so much, you know, motivation videos too. That's very important. You got to motivate. First thing in the morning, you know, thank God for that day, you know, and for the business. And then after that, get your motivation videos up, you know, because you got to be pumped up. You got to be hungry for what you want. And not only that, it's a long-term commitment that you just signed paperwork for 5 years for that truck. So it's $1,800 a month, a brand new truck. Now, ask me if I started this, I ain't gonna get a used truck. I'm gonna get a brand spanking new one, a new trailer, because I don't want those problems. You know, trucking, that's another downfall. When I bought used trucks, and I'm talking semi trucks, I bought them used. They were only like 3 or 2 years old. I don't know. They had like 500,000 miles on. I was like, oh man, they look good. That ain't nothing on these semis. I went and bought them. So we went and bought them, and we bought them. We had so many problems. Oh my God. We spent so much money. Sensors this, sensors that, sensors. It's like, dude, I don't even know money with these things, man. What did I do?
It's kind of crazy. Like, it's basically getting a new truck so your truck could go through it with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the truck's gotta, obviously it's a truck. It doesn't have feet. It's gonna go through it with you. You know, every little scratch that you see on that new truck. You know,
$600 more or $500, I would have bought a brand spanking new one. Or I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have all these problems until I hit 500,000 miles on a semi. I'm talking semis. Now, Dodge Rams and all them, you know, Fords and Chevys and, you know, Hot Shots 2500s, 3500s, you know, I mean, they'll go. I mean, my buddy has one for 500,000. The other one has 400,000, and they're still going. They're Dodge Rams and Fords, you know. GMCs, Chevy, I don't want to.
Don't say it because a lot of people that I was a Chevy guy, but not no more.
Yeah, the high shot business. All I used was Fords and Dodge Rams at the time. You know, I think Fords are taking it over right now, but Dodge Rams, but the Chevys, GMCs, like I try to stay away from for right now. I don't know, later on in the future it'll be good, but you just gotta go, man.
It's a lot of people say it's not made for everybody, but it kind of is. It's just you have to get into that mindset. You know what? When I was young, when my parents always said he's gonna end up being like a boss or something, because that thing that you just said, right? You gotta get out of that W-2.
Yeah,
you know, you gotta start mentality of a worker. My dad had to take that away from me, because even when I jumped into the business, I wanted to be in there. My dad's like, no, I want you to stay in the office, deal with
get more jobs, do this, yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, but I don't know how to do that. Like, no, that's your job, because now it's your business. Because my brother started his. We did some work with him, but obviously we were young. We didn't know how to run it. And I was like, but no, I'd rather work. No, my dad is like, you're a business owner. You ain't a worker.
And that's your education.
And so
that's your education for you know, you didn't go to university or college. Yeah. That's your education. And that's our education.
And I learned from there. Like I didn't go to school for that and stuff like that. And my dad's like, no, it's not that he didn't want me to mess up like my nails or nothing, but he's just like, no, this is your business. You gotta. I'm your dad, but my dad always said, even when we worked with him, at home, you're my son. Out here, you're just a worker. Yeah. And we used to get into it and stuff. And vice versa, when I started my business, we got into it so many times. But I'm glad my dad told me that, hey, you stay in your business. You have to manage me. Yeah. Don't think about. Don't feel bad because I'm your dad. No. Yeah. I'm working for you. You're providing for me. So as long as you keep bringing in the work, I'm happy. So you got to get out of that mindset, and that's what people get stuck on. They think like, how am I going to do this if I got to go put the toilet and then go do the paperwork? And no, like, if you're going to do a business owner, obviously you're going to start working at the beginning, but then you start getting your people, and then, you know.
Of course.
And that's where people start, you know, thinking about it, like, no, that's too much of a risk. What is it? The what if is what kills everything. And you know, one friend, procrastination too, you know, about thinking of doing it. And I have a friend at the gym. His name is David Hernandez, and he gave me an idea to create some stickers, and he gave me a phrase that said, procrastination is the assassination of your destination.
I like that.
I
like that.
Yeah, and so a lot of people, I didn't know till he told me. I'm like, damn, you're right. You know, a lot of people just procrastinate, being like, I'll start my business later on, or let me start it, but you don't go all the way, you know, and then you never do nothing. Yeah. And then at the end you still could complain that you don't got money and stuff like that. And it's not easy, not because you're a business owner, you're rich. A lot of people just see us when we're in our trucks and pull up. But they don't see that we're just fighting with
Behind
the
it.
insurance guy.
Yeah.
They didn't give us our paperwork
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got to check.
And stuff
Yeah,
like that. And,
yeah.
and the other workers are like, hey, you got to pay me and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They don't
got
know.
employees, they got to pay.
They just see us
driving
and well dressed, I guess you could say, and they don't see that. But it's I love going through this journey. I mean, I go through highs and downs, but I think that's life, you know. That's life, and the journey I get to meet people like you, you know, it was crazy, you know, like and that's why other conversations we had. I always say that even to my parents, like I don't know why I could talk to more people that are a little older than me than in my age group. Like I kind of don't, you know.
The mentality you have is more of a business person, and now the age is now these days is more like a kid's. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just something in between. I like to. I see a lot. Like, you know, I'm older already, but I see and I have to. Now that I deal with a lot of hot shotters that we have, you know, some are young, but I get them in a mentality where it's like, yeah, you got to do this. This is how I got it structured. This is what you need to do, you know, because I've been through it. I've been through this already, you know. I ain't gonna lie. Now they're like, dude, I understand. Like, man, I go this and this and this and that. You know, I even help them as much as I can. If I can only go so far. You can only go so far. After that, you know, it's just nothing you can do. But yeah, it's hard. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
No, well, I think those are all the questions I have, Junior. It was a great, amazing conversation.
Awesome.
I really learned a lot too, you know, because I am thinking of maybe joining into the trucking industry, the trucking driving.
Yeah, I got
So, you know, I didn't even know none of this stuff. You know, I was just like, I was telling my wife, I should just go ahead and get the truck. Just wait, talk to Junior, see what he recommends. But I'm still thinking about it because I still want
They've been doing so many videos, man. Like all these guys are out there. I've never seen that. Back in our days, there was nobody doing that. But you know what? I did take a lot of pictures though, with places where I've been and where I used to go and everything. So it was awesome. It was awesome. And I miss it. That's why I'm gonna go back for a little bit and kind of go out there and you know hit the boots, you know, and come back home, and you know just. So I'm hoping that that's gonna happen. So if not, I'm okay with it. You know, I still got a lot of work here to do.
Yeah, no, that's good. And
yeah, if they got any questions, man, call me. Visit my website. You know, I'm here at the office. You know, www.sunvalley.enterprise.com. You can call 877-700-1234. I made it easy for everybody. Yeah, call me back. I got this problem. You know, whatever I can do.
Do you know the address for here, so if people want to come?
201A Suite B, West Moore Avenue in Terrell, Texas. You guys are welcome anytime, guys. Our office is here. Give us a call too. Visit us. I don't care where you're at. You know, stop by. If you're somewhere, call me. I'll go pick you up. You know, bring you over here, or we'll go out. You know, lunch or something. Yeah. So yeah, give me a call, man. You guys got any questions, man? We're here.
Yeah, and like I said, take advantage on those new truckers out there. Take advantage of those free 5 days of dispatching. You know, it's just so you could get, you know, a little understanding of how he works and how he could get you more work. But Junior, I love having this talk with you. You know, like I said, I learned a lot. Hopefully we could have another.
Yeah. Maybe we'll bring in a factoring company or the factoring company that's, you know, backing us up and for our not me, but I mean, they'll back us up, but for our carriers, you know, maybe learn something about them, you know, talk to them. I don't know.
And you say you have an insurance.
Caden, and then, you know, Caden, the insurance guy, the factoring company would be Kelly or Eddie, I don't know who.
And what was her name? The text.
Cassandra's here at the office too. You can call her at 877-700-1234.
Yeah.
You know, she can do your corporate taxes, your personal taxes, your extra taxes, whatever you need, man. Your LLCs, she's pretty good at it too. So whatever you need, man, we got it. We got it here.
All right, guys. So there you go, and you can follow me on TikTok.
Follow me on TikTok, Sun Valley Dispatch, Sun Valley Enterprise Dispatching, Facebook. You know, we got our Instagram too, Sun Valley Enterprise too. So follow us there, man, and give it a like.
Give it a like, a follow, and you can also ask questions there if you need them. But yeah, I really want to appreciate because this is my first interview style in the podcast, and I just want to give a huge thanks. You gave me the trust first of all, and this opportunity.
No, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I love them like that.
And
Yeah.
hopefully we could do a follow up with with everybody in here and stuff like that, and probably I have a better setup, And,
It's good setup. It's expensive what you got.
And so, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you,
gave me.
Eduardo. Thank you.
And like I said, the trust, because the cool thing is that a lot of people, I talked to them about my idea about this podcast, and they're willing to jump, and that's why I'm so grateful to God that He puts these people in front of me, like you and stuff like that, and I'm really grateful, and I feel that this is only because of God, So I might be talking about a lot about God here because I have a big testimony. Y'all probably already heard in this other episodes that I think it was like the second episode, but yeah, guys, hope to see you on the next video, guys, and like I said, like, share, follow here, Junior at Sun Valley Enterprise and Lil Giant Design and Sketch to Success, guys. So see you on the next one.
Later, bro.
All right, bye.